Hello, scholars. Welcome to week 2 of our unit on healthy living. This week we're going to be classifying food and talking about nutrition. Let's go ahead and get started with our lesson for Monday, April 27th. Our objective today says, I can use nouns and adjectives of quantity to sort food into groups. Nouns are people, places, and things. The nouns we're using today are foods. Adjectives of quantity are describing words that tell us how much. We'll use those to talk about different sized groups of food and different groups of food. Last week, you talked about how exercise keeps your body healthy. Good nutrition keeps your body healthy too. When you have good nutrition, you eat healthy food. Healthy snacks and meals keep your bones and muscles strong and help you feel good all day. One part of being healthy is nutrition. Food is organized into different groups called food groups. Let's learn about the food groups. Let's practice saying each name. My turn, grains. Your turn. My turn, vegetables. Your turn. My turn, fruits. Your turn. My turn, protein. Your turn. My turn, dairy. Your turn. How many food groups do you see? That's right, there's 5. Which foods do you already know? Are there any foods you like to eat or don't like to eat? Are there any foods you haven't seen before? Today, we're going to spend time sorting the foods into their different food groups. We're really focusing today on foods that are healthy, which means they're good for your body. Foods that are not healthy are called junk food. It's okay to eat junk food once in a while, but we shouldn't eat it all the time. The first food group we'll talk about today is vegetables. Vegetables have lots of vitamins and minerals that help you stay healthy and keep you from getting sick. Since it's the first food group we've talked about, we can use the adjective of quantity, 1. We can say, one food group is the vegetable group. Your turn. One food group is the vegetable group. Let's practice naming some of our vegetables. My turn, celery. Your turn. My turn, broccoli. Your turn. My turn, lettuce. Your turn. My turn, carrots. Your turn. All of these foods are healthy vegetables that keep our bodies working well. The next food group we'll talk about is protein. Protein makes your muscles strong and helps your body heal itself. Since we already talked about one food group, this time we'll use the adjective of quantity, another. We can say, another food group is the protein group. Your turn. Another food group is the protein group. Let's practice naming some of our proteins. Proteins are often meat, but not all of them are. My turn, nuts. Your turn. My turn, chicken. Your turn. My turn, eggs. Your turn. My turn, beans. Your turn. My turn, fish. Your turn. The next food group we'll talk about is dairy. Foods made from milk are part of the dairy group. They have lots of calcium, which is good for building strong bones. We can say one food group is the dairy group. Your turn. Since we've already talked about 2 other groups, we could also say another food group is the dairy group. Your turn. Let's practice naming some of our dairy foods. My turn, cheese. Your turn. My turn. Ice cream. Your turn. My turn. Milk. Your turn. My turn. Yogurt. Your turn. One of these foods is tricky. Ice cream is made from milk, so it is considered dairy. Ice cream usually also has lots of sugar, so sometimes it's in the junk food group as well. When we learn about how much dairy you should eat in a day, we're thinking about cheese and milk and yogurt a lot more than we're thinking about ice cream. The next food group we'll talk about is fruit. Food that grows on plants and contains seeds is called fruit. Fruit, like vegetables, is full of vitamins that keep you healthy. We can say, another food group is the fruit group. Your turn. Another food group is the fruit group. Before I show the pictures, what fruits can you think of? We often have fruit for snack at school. Nice ideas. My turn. Watermelon. Your turn. My turn. Apples. Your turn. My turn. Juice. Your turn. That one's tricky because it's a liquid, but it's made from the juice that comes out of fruit. This is another one where you have to be careful because sometimes it has lots of sneaky sugar and it isn't just fruit. My turn. Grapes. Your turn. My turn. Cucumbers. Your turn. That's another tricky one because sometimes people think of it like a vegetable, but it has seeds, so we call it a fruit. My turn. Bananas. Your turn. Our last food group is grains. Grain foods are mostly made from wheat, oats, or rice. We only need to eat a little from this food group each day. We can say, one food group is the grains group. Your turn. One food group is the grains group. Since we've already talked about 4 other food groups, we could also say another food group is the grains group. My turn. Bread. Your turn. My turn. Rice. Your turn. My turn. Oatmeal. Your turn. My turn. Pasta. Your turn. My turn. Tortillas. Your turn. All of these yummy foods are grains. Now that we've talked about all of the food groups, we can think about the difference between one and another. We can use one to name any of the food groups by itself. We can only use another if we've already named at least one food group. We can't use another the first time. Let's practice each sentence quickly with my turn, your turn. I wonder who can be the loudest and proudest. My turn. One food group is the dairy group. Your turn. My turn. Another food group is the vegetable group. Your turn. My turn. One food group is the fruit group. Your turn. My turn. Another food group is the protein group. Your turn. Last sentence. One food group is the grains group. Your turn. Nice job, scholars. In every sentence, we were only talking about one food group at a time. Because our subject was singular, we used the singular verb is. When we talk about one thing, we say is. Organizing food into groups like we just practiced helps us make good choices and think about the types of food we should eat every day. If you know which foods belong in each food group, it's easier to be healthy and make sure you're having food from every food group each day. If we look here, we can see we should have about 3 servings of dairy every day. Remember, that's milk and cheese and yogurt, not ice cream 3 times a day. We might need 2 servings of fruit or 4 servings of grains. I really like that this healthy checklist reminds us that we also need exercise and water every day to be healthy. We're going to use some more adjectives of quantity to help us talk about foods in the same food group. When we talk about 2 things, we can say both. Both is a word that helps us describe a group of 2 exactly. If I look at both of these delicious foods, I see my apples and pears, I know that they both grow on plants and they both have seeds. That means they're both fruits. I can say, apples and pears are both fruits. Your turn. Here, I'm talking about 2 foods. My subject is plural, which is why we switched to our plural verb, and now we're saying are. These delicious foods are both made from milk. That reminds me that they are dairy foods. My turn first. Cheese and yogurt are both dairy foods. Your turn. Now we can add on using another. We've already described some dairy. We're adding on, which is why the adjective of quantity, another, makes sense. Milk is another dairy food. Your turn. On this page, I can see that we're talking about vegetables. First, I'm talking about 2 veggies, so I'll use both. When I decide to add on another vegetable, I'm going to use another. Let's practice the 2 sentences at the same time. My turn first. Celery and broccoli are both vegetables. Carrots are another vegetable. Your turn, both sentences. Nice job. Pasta and rice are both grains. Your turn. Let's add on. Bread is another grain. Your turn. If we want to mix it up, we can talk about all 3 things at the same time. If we're talking about 3 things, we can't use both. Both is only for 2. If we're talking about 3 things, we use all. We practiced this adjective when we were describing groups of jungle or grassland animals. My turn first. Pasta, rice, and bread are all grains. Your turn. Notice when we're listing 3 or more items, we use commas to separate them, and before the last item, we use the conjunction and. It's joining our list together. Now I see a bunch of proteins. There are 3 different things. I know we need to use all, and I know we should use commas and to separate our list. My turn first. Chicken, eggs, and beef are all protein foods. Your turn. Nice job. Here we have 3 different fruits. Remember, for 3 or more things, we use all. Apples, pears, and watermelon are all fruits. Your turn. How do we know that these are fruits? You're right. They grow on plants and they have seeds. At the beginning, we said some of the foods we know wouldn't be put into these food groups. That's because they are junk food. It's not a food group because it's not recommended that you eat it. It's not good for you. Like I said, we all eat junk food sometimes, and that's okay. We just want to make sure we are usually eating fruits and veggies and proteins and grains and dairy to keep our bodies healthy. Chips, candy, and cookies, are some examples of junk food that we do not need to be healthy. That's listing 3 different things, so we're using all. My turn first. Chips, candy, and cookies are all junk food. Your turn. Chips, candy, and cookies are all junk food. Nice job today, scholars. Second graders, you're going to go back to Google Classroom and use the sentence frames to practice typing a sentence about foods and their food group. Make sure you're using the words on the chart to help you with spelling, and make sure you use a capital and punctuation on your sentence. Nice work today, scholars.